pregnancy test on my kitchen counter wasn't mine to find. Neither were the 3 children I'd raised for the past year. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to the moment everything shattered. May 12th. Emma's 7th birthday. 23 witnesses watched my wife walk away from our life, and not one of them saw it coming. The bounce house was still inflating in the backyard, pink streamers twisted in the wind, catching afternoon sun the way they're supposed to on a perfect Saturday. Emma wore her purple dress, the one with the sparkles she'd picked out 3 weeks earlier. She was spinning in circles near the cake table, making the skirt flare out while her friends chased bubbles across the lawn. "Mommy, don't forget the candles." My wife, Sarah, stood by the back gate, car keys in her hand. I remember thinking she was running to the store for something we'd forgotten. Ice, maybe? Or those little paper plates with the unicorns Emma had insisted on. She kissed Emma's forehead, held it there for 3 seconds. 4. I counted because something felt wrong about it. Too long, too deliberate. Then she leaned down and whispered something I couldn't hear. "I'll be back in time for cake, baby." Except she wasn't talking to Emma. She was talking to herself. A promise she was already breaking. She walked past the bounce house, past Sophie setting up the piñata, past Jake organizing the gift table because he's 11 and thinks organization makes him grown up, past Mrs. Patterson from next door holding a casserole dish like she always does at neighborhood events. 23 people at that party, 23 witnesses. She got in her car, a gray Honda Accord we'd bought together 4 years earlier when Emma was still in a car seat, and she drove away. Emma blew out her candles without her. We sang happy birthday with a mother-shaped hole in the circle. I cut the cake with hands that had gone numb somewhere between the 3rd and 4th time. A parent asked me, "Where's Sarah?" "She had an emergency," I said. Then, "She'll be here soon." Then, "She got held up." By the time the last guest left, I'd stopped inventing excuses. The pink birthday card sat on the gift table. Sarah had signed it that morning over coffee. "To my sweet Emma, love always, Mommy." Glitter on the envelope. Emma's name in cursive. The ink smudged where a teardrop, mine or hers, had fallen. I kept that card. Put it in the kitchen drawer next to the scissors and the takeout menus we never used. Didn't know then it would become evidence. 23 witnesses saw her walk out mid-party. The kids asked questions I couldn't answer. "Where's Mommy? When's she coming back? Did we do something wrong?" That last one came from Sophie. She's the oldest. 13 now, but she was 12 then. Old enough to know something was broken. Too young to understand it wasn't her fault. I found the note at 9:47 p.m. The kids were finally asleep, or pretending to be asleep, which is what children do when they hear their father crying in the next room. It was on our bed, her side, where her phone usually charged overnight. White paper, blue ink, 7 words. "I can't do this anymore. Don't contact me." No signature, no explanation. Just 7 words that detonated a 12-year marriage and 3 childhoods. The handwriting was steady, no tear stains, no shaking in the letters, just decision, clean and surgical. I read it 47 times the first night. Kept thinking if I rearranged the words, they might mean something different. Something that made sense. They didn't. Her clothes were still in the closet, her toothbrush is still in the bathroom, the coffee mug she'd used that morning, the one Emma made in art class with "World's Best Mom" painted in uneven letters, still sitting in the sink. Everything was there except her. I called her phone, went straight to voicemail, texted, nothing, called again, voicemail, again, voicemail. By midnight, I'd called 17 times. By 2 a.m., I'd stopped. Jake found me sitting on the kitchen floor at 3:30. Dad, he was holding his pillow, the Batman one he had had since he was 6. His face was swollen from crying. I had a bad dream. I pulled him down next to me. We sat there on the cold tile, backs against the cabinets, while he fell asleep with his head on my shoulder. That night, I learned you can't explain abandonment to a 7-year-old, or an 11-year-old, or a 12-year-old. You just hold them while they cry and pray you're enough. The first week, I kept expecting her to come back. The second week, I stopped expecting and started surviving. By week 3, I'd stopped checking my phone every time it buzzed. Survival looks like this. 6 a.m. wake up. Get Sophie ready for school, make breakfast, usually cereal, because I couldn't figure out how Sarah made those perfect eggs. Pack lunches, 3 different lunch boxes. Sophie likes turkey, no mayo. Jake only eats peanut butter if it is the crunchy kind. Emma won't eat anything that touches anything else, so everything goes in separate containers. Get them to school, come home. Cry for exactly 20 minutes because that's all the time there is before work calls. Work from home. Try to focus on spreadsheets while wondering if your wife is ever coming back. 3 p.m. Pick up Emma from elementary. 3:15. Get Jake from middle school. 3:45. Sophie takes the bus, but she texts when she's home safe. Homework. 3 different subjects. 3 different needs. Sophie's doing algebra. Jake needs help with a book report. Emma has spelling words. Dinner. I learned to cook exactly 4 things. Spaghetti, tacos, chicken nuggets, and what the kids started calling Dad's macaroni surprise. The surprise was that it was different every time because I kept forgetting what I put in it. Baths, bedtime, stories for Emma. Just 5 more minutes, Dad, from Jake. Sophie pretending she's too old for goodnight hugs, but hovering in the doorway until I offered one anyway. Then the house got quiet. That's when the grief showed up. I marked each day on the calendar, red X through each date. Some shaky, some fierce. Day 23. Jake won his first soccer game without her there. Day 47. I broke down in the cereal aisle at Target. Day 89, Emma stopped asking when Mommy was coming home. That hurt more than the asking. The kids drew pictures. Our family assignments from school, Emma's had 4 stick figures. You could see where she'd erased a 5th. The paper was worn thin there, like she'd tried multiple times to make it work with just 4. Jake's drawing showed 5 figures, but the middle one, Mom's spot, had been scribbled out with black crayon so thick you couldn't see through it. Sophie stopped drawing families altogether. I hung every picture on the fridge, even the painful ones, especially the painful ones. Mrs. Patterson from next door started showing up with casseroles. "You're doing amazing, Marcus," she'd say, handing me a dish covered in foil. I wasn't, but I nodded anyway because that's what you do when people are trying to help. The teachers noticed, started sending gentle emails, just checking in on how the kids are adjusting. Code 4, we see the change. We're worried. Our pediatrician noticed during Jake's checkup. "How are you holding up, Dad?" "Fine," I lied. She looked at me over her glasses. "Marcus, it's okay to not be fine." But it wasn't okay, because fine was a luxury I couldn't afford when 3 kids needed me to be functional. By month 7, we had a rhythm. Not a good rhythm, but rhythm nonetheless. We made it work. We showed up. We survived. Emma stopped asking when Mommy was coming home. That hurt more than the asking. I started teaching them something my grandfather taught me, a family motto. 3 words we'd say before dinner, before bed, whenever things felt too big. "We don't leave." I'd say it first. Then the kids would repeat it. "We don't leave." It meant we don't abandon people. We don't give up on family. We don't walk away when things get hard. It meant we're not her. By month 9, they said it without prompting. Day 347. I sat in attorney Rebecca Chen's office with a manila folder thick enough to hurt. "You've documented everything," Rebecca said, flipping through school records, medical appointments, grocery receipts. 347 days of single parenting, organized by month. "I didn't know I was documenting," I said. "I was just trying to remember everything." She looked up at me, sharp eyes, professional suit, the kind of lawyer who doesn't waste words. Marcus, when's the last time you heard from her? 347 days. Rebecca nodded, wrote something down. That's abandonment, legally speaking. You have grounds. The divorce papers sat on her desk. White, official, stamped with the state seal. I'd thought about this moment for months, imagined it would feel like relief, like closing a door that had been swinging open in the wind, banging against the frame. It didn't feel like that. It felt like admitting she wasn't coming back. What if... I stopped, started again. What if she shows up, after we file? Rebecca's expression didn't change. Then we deal with that if it happens. But Marcus, 347 days of zero contact, no child support, no communication. That's not someone who's planning to show up. I signed the papers. My hand shook on the first signature, steadied by the fourth page. By the time I finished, it felt mechanical. Date here, initial here, sign at the bottom. Rebecca slid everything into a folder. This will take a few months to process. In the meantime, you keep doing what you're doing. You're a good father, Marcus. Document everything. Stay consistent. If she does show up... Rebecca paused. When people abandon their families, they don't usually come back. But if she does, we'll be ready. I walked out of that office with divorce papers filed and a custody case that didn't need to be fought because the other party had forfeited by absence. The judge asked about day 127. She couldn't answer. I could. Day 365, 1 year exactly. I made Emma's favorite dinner, the macaroni surprise that had somehow become our Thursday tradition. Sophie set the table without being asked. Jake folded napkins into triangles because he'd watched a YouTube video about fancy dining. We were okay. Not perfect, not healed, but okay. Emma said grace. We held hands around the table like we always did. Thank you for Dad, she said. Thank you for Sophie and Jake. Thank you for making us strong when we were sad. Amen. Amen, we echoed. We don't leave, I said. We don't leave, they answered. And we didn't. Until 8:47 p.m. when someone knocked on the door. I wasn't expecting anyone. Mrs. Patterson usually called first. Rebecca said she'd email updates, not visit. Through the window, I could see a figure on the porch. Familiar shape, familiar stance. I opened the door. Sarah stood there, gray coat, hair longer than I remembered, dark circles under her eyes like she hadn't slept in weeks. And 6 months pregnant. She looked at me, then at the house behind me, then back at me. Marcus, she said. One word, my name, like it explained everything. It explained nothing. I made a mistake. Her hand moved to her belly, protective, automatic. We're having a baby, our baby. I didn't move, couldn't move. Sarah stood on my porch, our porch, with her hand on a belly that hadn't been there 365 days ago. Behind me, I heard Jake's voice. Dad, who's at the... He stopped. I didn't need to turn around to know he'd seen her. Go upstairs, I said, quiet, controlled. Take your sisters, now. But, now, Jake. Footsteps on the stairs. Sophie's voice, sharp with recognition. Is that... Then silence. The kind of silence that means children are listening from the top of the landing. I stepped onto the porch, closed the door behind me, put my body between Sarah and my house. You can't be here. Marcus, please, just let me explain. 365 days. My voice came out flat, empty. Not a text, not a call, not a postcard. 365 days, Sarah. I know, and I'm so... Emma drew pictures of our family, 4 people. She erased you so many times the paper wore through. Sarah's eyes filled. Marcus, Jake keeps a journal. Do you know what he wrote on day 47? Dad says we don't leave people who need us, but she left us. Does that mean we didn't need her enough? The tears spilled over. She reached for me. I stepped back. Don't. I made a mistake. I was scared and overwhelmed, and I thought I needed something different. But I was wrong. He left me, Marcus. He left me pregnant and alone, and I have nowhere else to go. Her voice cracked. Don't you still love me? That question sat between us like a landmine. Come inside, I said finally. We're not doing this on the porch. The kitchen looked the same as it had that morning. Macaroni dish in the sink, kids' drawings on the fridge, the calendar still hanging by the pantry door, 365 red X marks, each one a day I'd survived without her. Sarah saw it, saw every marked day. Her hand went to her mouth. You counted. Every single one. I poured water, gave her a glass. We sat at opposite ends of the table, the same table where we'd had breakfast on day 0 before she walked out of Emma's birthday party. Talk, I said. His name was Daniel. She said it like I was supposed to know, like she'd mentioned him before. We met at the gym. He was different, exciting. He made me feel young again, like I wasn't just someone's wife or someone's mother. You are someone's mother. You have 3 children. I know. God, Marcus, I know. But I felt invisible. You were always working. The kids were always needing something, and I needed to matter to someone. You mattered to 4 people. We were right there. She flinched. I thought I needed to find myself, figure out who I was outside of being a wife and mother. And, did you figure it out? Silence. Did you figure out who you are, Sarah? I figured out I made a mistake. Her hands wrapped around the water glass. Daniel wasn't who I thought he was. He was great when things were easy. But when I told him I was pregnant, she shook her head. He said it wasn't his problem, that I should handle it. Then he stopped returning my calls. I looked at her. Really looked. The Sarah who left had been put together, hair done, makeup perfect. Always camera ready, she used to joke. This Sarah had chipped nail polish and roots that needed touching up. Her coat had a button missing. When did he leave you? 2 months ago. So you've known you were pregnant for, 4 months? 5. 5 months pregnant. 5 months of knowing, and she came back now. Why didn't you come back then, when you first found out? She looked away. I thought he'd come around, that we'd figure it out together. But he didn't. No. I pulled the calendar off the wall, laid it on the table between us. Day 1, Emma's birthday. You kissed her forehead and walked out mid-party. I pointed to the date. Day 23, Jake's soccer game. First time he scored a goal. He looked for you in the stands. Marcus. Day 47. I broke down in the cereal aisle at Target because Emma asked if we could buy the kind of juice you liked. And I realized she thought if we had your favorite things in the house, you might come back. My finger moved across the calendar, each X mark, each day. Day 89. Emma stopped asking when Mommy was coming home. Do you know what that feels like? Watching your daughter give up on you? Please stop. Day 127. Jake won an award at school. Most improved in math. You missed it. Day 164. Sophie started therapy because she was having panic attacks. Day 203. Emma told her teacher she only has 1 parent now. Stop. Please, Marcus, stop. Day 347. I filed for divorce. Her head snapped up. You what? I filed for divorce, for abandonment. It's being processed right now. You can't. We can work this out. We can go to counseling. I'll do whatever it takes. I looked at her. This woman I'd loved for 12 years. Mother of 3 children. Maybe. When did the affair start, Sarah? She went very still. When did it start? Does it matter? Yes, it matters. She picked at her nail polish, wouldn't meet my eyes. I don't know. A few months before I left, maybe. A few months. Marcus, so you were planning this, before Emma's birthday. I wasn't planning anything. It just happened. No. I pulled the pink birthday card from the kitchen drawer, the one she had signed that morning. This didn't just happen. You signed this card. You helped set up that party. You stood in our backyard with 23 witnesses and you chose to leave. I didn't know I was going to leave until I did. That's not true. It is true. I woke up that morning and I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was drowning. And Daniel texted and said he'd found an apartment for us, and I just left. An apartment. He'd found an apartment before Emma's party. You're lying, I said quietly. I'm not. Yes, you are, because people don't find apartments the same day they move. He found it before, which means you knew, you planned it. She started crying. Real tears this time, not the pretty ones she'd used earlier. I didn't want to hurt you, but you did it anyway. I was scared. We were all scared. Every single day you were gone, we were terrified. But we didn't leave. We stayed. We showed up. We survived. I stood up. This conversation was over. You can't stay here. Marcus, please. I have nowhere to go. I don't have any money. Daniel took everything. You should have thought about that before you left. What about the baby? Her hand went to her belly again. Our baby. You're just going to turn your back on your own child? And there it was. The card she'd been waiting to play. If it's mine, I said slowly, carefully, we'll talk. But you don't get to show up pregnant after a year and expect me to just believe you. Are you serious right now? Deadly serious. You want a paternity test? You think I'd lie about this? I think you lied about a lot of things. So, yes, I want a paternity test. Pause here. Real question. Would you let her explain, or would you protect what you'd rebuilt? Reply, explain, or protect. She left that night. I gave her money for a hotel. $200 I couldn't really spare, but I gave it anyway because that's who I am, even when I shouldn't be. Call me when you're ready to take the test, I said. She looked at me from the doorway. I came back for you, for us, and you're treating me like a stranger. You are a stranger. The woman I married wouldn't have left her children on their birthday. She drove away in the same gray Honda Accord. I watched until her taillights disappeared. Then I turned around and saw 3 faces at the top of the stairs. Is Mommy back? Emma's voice was small. We sat in the living room, me in the armchair, Sophie and Jake on the couch. Emma curled in my lap, even though she's getting too big for it. Mommy came to visit, I said carefully. But she's not staying. Why not? Emma twisted to look at me. Doesn't she love us anymore? I don't know, baby. She left again, Sophie said, flat, matter of fact. She came back and then she left again. She's at a hotel. It's not the same as before. It feels the same, Jake said. He had his journal on his lap, Batman pillow behind his back. Dad, why did she come back now? After a whole year? How do you explain this to an 11-year-old? Sometimes people make bad choices, and then they realize they were bad choices, and they try to fix things. Can she fix it? Emma asked. I don't know. Do you want her to fix it? I looked at my 3 children, Emma with her purple dinosaur pajamas, Jake holding that journal like a shield, Sophie with her arms crossed, defensive and scared and trying so hard to be brave. A year ago, they were different children, younger, softer, more innocent. This year had aged them in ways children shouldn't age. I said slowly, whatever is best for you 3. That's all I want. We don't leave, Emma whispered. Right, Dad? We don't leave people who need us. That's right, baby. But she left us. Emma's eyes filled. She left us and now she's back, and what if she leaves again? What if she keeps leaving? I didn't have an answer for that. Sophie spoke up. Her voice was different, harder than a 12-year-old's should be. Did you see her stomach? Sophie, she's pregnant. Is it yours? Jake's head snapped up. What? She's having a baby, Sophie said. I heard you talking. Is it yours, Dad? 13 years old, asking questions no child should have to ask. I don't know yet. But she says it is, Sophie pressed. Right? That's why she came back. Because she's pregnant and he left her. How do you know that? Because that's what people do. They use you until they can't anymore, and then they come back when they need something. Where had my daughter learned that? Then I realized, from watching her mother. That's not what family does, I said. That's not what we do. But she did. Yes, she did. Emma was crying now. Silent tears that broke my heart more than screaming ever could. Jake opened his journal, flipped to a page marked with a torn piece of notebook paper. I wrote something, he said. After she left, can I read it? Of course. His voice shook. Dad says we don't leave people who need us, but she left us. Does that mean we didn't need her enough, or that we needed her wrong? The room went quiet. Then Sophie said, we needed her exactly right. She just didn't want to be needed. 12 years old, 13 in 2 months. Speaking truth, I couldn't. I pulled all 3 of them close. Emma in my lap. Sophie and Jake pressed against my sides. We're okay, I said. We're going to be okay. Are we? Jake asked. Yes. Even if she keeps coming back? Even then, because we have something she doesn't understand. What? We have each other, and we don't leave. Emma fell asleep in my arms. Jake and Sophie eventually went to their rooms. I sat there in the dark living room, holding my youngest daughter, staring at the blank TV screen. 365 days. We'd survived 365 days. And now it was starting all over. I ordered the paternity test the next morning. Overnighted it. $250 I definitely couldn't spare. Here's how it works, I told Sarah on the phone. You take the test, send it to the lab. They compare it with mine. 2 weeks for results. This is humiliating. This is necessary. I'm telling you the truth, Marcus. This baby is yours. Then the test will prove it. Silence on her end. Then, what if it is yours? What happens then? Then we talk about custody, about co-parenting, about how to do this without damaging 3 kids more than they have already been damaged. And us? There is no us, Sarah. There could be, if you just... No, there couldn't. Because even if that baby is mine, it doesn't change what you did. It doesn't erase 365 days. It doesn't unbreak our children. So, you're just going to punish me forever? I'm not punishing you. I'm protecting them. There's a difference. I hung up before she could respond. Rebecca called an hour later. I heard she came back. News travels fast. Small legal community. Also, your neighbor Mrs. Patterson called my office to make sure I was taking care of you. She's very concerned. Despite everything, I smiled. Mrs. Patterson is a treasure. She is. Marcus, be careful. Document everything. Every conversation. Every interaction. If she's back because she's pregnant and wants to claim it's yours, I ordered a paternity test. Good. That's good. But until you have those results, assume she's building a narrative. She abandoned the family. Her new relationship failed. Now she's trying to come back. She's going to paint you as the bad guy for not letting her. Let her try. I have 365 days of evidence. Keep it that way. No fighting in front of the kids. No name calling. You're the stable parent. Stay that way. After I hung up, I added a note today that 306 on the calendar. She came back, pregnant, asked if I still love her. Ordered paternity test. Day 366. We'd survived 1 year. Now we had to survive whatever came next. Day 373. The voicemail came at 2:47 a.m. I didn't recognize the number, almost deleted it without listening. But something, instinct maybe, made me press play. A man's voice, rough, uncomfortable. Hey, this is Daniel. I don't know if Sarah told you about me, but look, man, I need to tell you something. She's been calling me, a lot. saying you're being cruel, that you're keeping her from the kids, that you... He paused. She told me you abused her. That's why I believed her when she said you hit the kids. That's why I thought I was helping her escape. My blood went cold. But I just found out she's been talking to my sister, trying to get money, and my sister said some stuff that didn't add up. And I started thinking, Sarah lies, like a lot, and I'm wondering if she lied about you. Another pause, longer this time. If you're listening to this, and you're not some monster, I'm sorry, I didn't know. She's really good at playing the victim. I'm starting to figure out she played me too. Anyway, I thought you should know. She's probably going to tell people you're dangerous. She's good at that. The voicemail ended. I sat in the dark kitchen, phone in my hand, listening to my own breathing. She told him I abused her. She told him I hit our children. She built an entire lie to justify leaving. I played the voicemail again, recorded it on my laptop, sent a copy to Rebecca with a timestamp. Then I sat there until sunrise, thinking about all the ways someone can destroy you without ever touching you. He wasn't calling to confess. He was calling to warn me. She'd done this before. The lover called. He had no idea. Has anyone ever blown up your narrative? Drop exposed, if you've been there. Day 380. I hired a private investigator. I need to know everything, I told the woman across the desk. Janet Porter, former cop. Credentials covering one wall of her small office. Everything about what? My wife, ex-wife, soon-to-be ex-wife. I handed her a folder. She left a year ago. Came back 2 weeks ago, pregnant. I need to know where she was, who she was with, what she was doing. That's a lot of ground to cover. I have 3 kids. She wants custody. And I just found out she told her boyfriend I abused her and hit our children. I need to know what else she's lying about. Janet flipped through the papers I'd brought. Calendar, divorce filing, Daniel's voicemail transcript. This won't be cheap. I don't care. You should care. PI work adds up fast. My kids are worth it. She looked at me over reading glasses. Okay then, give me 2 weeks. Day 394. Janet called. I need you to come to my office. Today, if possible. You found something? I found a lot of somethings. You need to see this in person. The manila folder on her desk was thick, the kind of thick that means bad news. How much of this do you want to know? Janet asked. All of it. You sure? Because once you know, you can't unknow. I'm sure. She opened the folder. Photos slid out. Bank statements, hotel receipts, text message transcripts, phone records. The affair started February 14th, Janet said. Valentine's Day. I've got hotel charges going back to then. Always the same hotel. Always charged to Daniel's credit card. February 14th. 3 months before Emma's birthday. 3 months before she left. She was planning this before the party, I said. She was planning this before a lot of things. Janet pulled out more papers. Look at the bank records. February 15th. She withdrew $500. March 3rd, $800. April 17th, $1,000. All from your joint account. All at ATMs near Daniel's apartment. I looked at the numbers, the dates. She was funding her exit. She was funding her affair. Daniel's apartment lease started March 1st. But look at this. Janet pointed to another document. Party supply store, May 10th, $247. Charged to Daniel's card. My brain stuttered. The birthday party? Emma's birthday decorations? The pink streamers you mentioned? The unicorn plates? He bought them. The air left my lungs. He bought my daughter's birthday decorations. The party Sarah left during, the party where she walked out in front of 23 witnesses, was decorated with supplies her boyfriend paid for. There's more, Janet said gently. You want to keep going? Yes. Phone records show she was in contact with him the morning of the party. Text at 9:47 a.m. It's happening today. His response, I'll be waiting. She rehearsed leaving, For 3 months, she rehearsed leaving. Every kiss goodnight, every I love you to the kids, every smile at breakfast. Performance. All of it. The pregnancy, I said. Do you know, conception date based on her being 5 months along? That's early May, right around the time she left you. Janet paused. Marcus, I'm not a doctor, but timeline-wise, if she's telling you it's yours, it's not. Probably not. I sat back in the chair. The office was small, cramped, file cabinets against one wall, a dying plant on the windowsill. I felt like I was sitting in an evidence locker. Is there anything else? Janet hesitated. One more thing. She's been calling your in-laws, her parents, telling them you threw her out, that you're keeping her from the kids, that you're turning the children against her. They believed her? They're sending her money. 2,000 so far. Jesus! People believe what they want to believe, especially when it comes to their children. Janet closed the folder, slid it across the desk. This is your copy. Everything's documented, time-stamped. If this goes to court, you have evidence that she planned the abandonment, funded it with your money, and is now lying to family about what happened. I picked up the folder. It was heavy. Thank you. Marcus? Janet's voice softened. I've been doing this job for 20 years. I've seen a lot of ugly divorces, but this one, document everything from here on out, because she's not done yet. What do you mean? I mean, she came back for a reason, and it's not love. People like her don't come back because they miss you. They come back because they need something. I drove home with that folder on my passenger seat, kept glancing at it at red lights. 3 months of planning, 3 months of lies. The lover paid for those party decorations. That night, I sat at the kitchen table with the folder open. Photos spread across the surface. Bank statements, hotel receipts. The timeline of my marriage's death, laid out in black and white. Emma found me there at midnight. Dad, you okay? Yeah, baby. Just working on some adult stuff. She climbed into my lap, even though she's really too big now. Looked at the papers. What's all that? Just some information I needed for the lawyer. About Mommy? Yeah. Is she in trouble? How do you answer that? She made some choices that hurt people. Now we're figuring out how to fix it. Can you fix it? I don't know. Emma picked up one of the photos, Sarah and Daniel at a restaurant, laughing. The timestamp read March 23rd, a Thursday. I remembered that Thursday. Jake had a fever. I'd stayed home from work. Sarah said she had a lunch meeting with an old friend. She looks happy, Emma said quietly. Yeah. She didn't look happy with us. That truth from a 7-year-old's mouth. Come on, I said. Let's get you back to bed. I tucked her in, pulled the covers up to her chin the way she likes. Dad? Yeah? If the baby is yours, does that mean we have to let her come back? No, baby. Even if the baby is mine, that doesn't mean Mommy gets to come back and hurt us again. Good. Emma's eyes were already closing. 'Cause we don't leave. And she left. That's right. We don't leave. I waited until she was asleep. Then I went back downstairs and looked at the evidence again. February 14th. The affair started May 12th. She walked out. Day 394 of being gone, she came back. She wasn't back because she loved us. She was back because she had nowhere else to go. And I had proof. Day 408. The envelope arrived certified mail. White, official, lab return address. I signed for it at 11:23 a.m. The mail carrier handed it over with a sympathetic look. Small town, everyone knew everyone's business by now. Rebecca was already in my living room when I opened it. I'd called her the moment I got the tracking notification. You want me to read it first? She asked. No, I need to see it myself. I opened the envelope, pulled out the report. 3 pages, dense medical terminology, charts, graphs, numbers. Page 3, bottom right corner. The only numbers that mattered. Probability of paternity, 0.00% zero, not 1%, not unlikely. 0. Marcus? I handed her the paper. Rebecca read it, nodded once. Okay, now we know. She lied. Yes. She came back here, pregnant with another man's baby, and tried to pass it off as mine. Yes. I sat down. The room felt tilted. People do this? I asked. People actually do this? Unfortunately, yes. More often than you'd think. Rebecca put the report back in the envelope. How do you want to handle telling her? I don't want to handle it. I want her gone. I understand, but legally, you need to provide her with the results. After that, any custody claim regarding the pregnancy is null. She has no legal standing to demand anything from you. What if she still tries? Let her try. We have 365 days of abandonment. We have evidence of planning. We have a paternity test. If she wants a fight, Marcus, you'll win. Sarah's hotel room door was beige, scratched from years of guests. I could hear a TV through the walls, smell cleaning chemicals and old carpet. I knocked. She opened the door, saw my face, knew immediately. You got the results? Yes. And? I handed her the envelope. She took it, didn't open it, just stood there holding it. Sarah, open it. Her hands shook. She pulled out the paper, read it again. Then she looked up at me, and she got angry. So what? You're just going to abandon me like everyone else? I stared at her. Are you serious right now? I came back. I apologized. I admitted I was wrong. And you're just going to throw me away? Throw you away? You left us. You planned it for 3 months. You lied about abuse. You tried to pass off another man's baby as mine. I made mistakes. No. My voice was sharp, loud enough that someone in the next room probably heard. I didn't care. No, you don't get to call this mistakes. Mistakes are forgetting to buy milk. Mistakes are being late to pick up the kids. You orchestrated an exit plan. You rehearsed it. You executed it in front of 23 witnesses at our daughter's birthday party. I was scared. We were all scared. Every single day for a year, we were terrified. But we stayed. We showed up. We survived. She was crying now, the manipulative kind, the kind designed to make me feel guilty. It didn't work anymore. The baby isn't yours, she said. Fine. But what about Emma and Jake and Sophie? Don't they deserve to have their mother? They had a mother. She left. People make mistakes, Marcus. People deserve second chances. Not his baby, I said quietly. Not his problem. Not his guilt. She flinched like I'd hit her. You're cruel. I'm honest. There's a difference. I turned to leave. Marcus, wait. Please. I have nowhere to go. No money. Daniel took everything. You took everything from us first. I'm begging you. Stop. Just stop. I turned back. You want to know what's cruel, Sarah? Jake keeps a journal. He wrote, does that mean we didn't need her enough? Emma draws pictures with 4 people because she erased you so many times the paper tore. Sophie. My voice cracked. Sophie started having panic attacks because she thought she was the reason you left. I never meant, but you did. You meant all of it. Because if you didn't mean it, you would have come back. You would have called. You would have done something. But you didn't. Not until you needed something from me. I walked to the door. Stopped with my hand on the frame. Stay away from my kids. If you want to be in their lives, we do it through lawyers and supervised visitation. But you don't get to show up and traumatize them again just because your backup plan failed. They're my children too. Biology doesn't make you a mother. Showing up does. And you haven't shown up for 408 days. I left her standing there, holding the paternity results, crying in a cheap hotel room. I didn't look back. That 0% hit different. Should biology define family? Reply, blood or bond. Day 415. Sophie asked to talk to me. Alone. After Emma was in bed. After Jake had his headphones on for gaming. Something's wrong, I said. What is it? She pulled out her phone, pink case, cracked screen from when she'd dropped it the first week after Sarah left. I need to show you something, but you have to promise not to be mad. Sophie, promise, Dad. Okay, I promise. She opened her voice memo app, scrolled through files, found one dated day 372. The day after Sarah came back. I've been recording things, Sophie said quietly. When she visits, when she calls, I had this feeling. What kind of feeling? That she was lying about everything, and I wanted to make sure we were safe. She pressed play. Sarah's voice came through the phone speaker, clear, unmistakable. Sophie, honey, I need you to help me. Can you do that? Help with what? Sophie's voice, wary. When we go to court, and we might go to court because Daddy's being very difficult. The judge is going to ask you questions about living here, and I need you to be honest, but also remember the hard times, okay? Remember when Daddy gets frustrated. Dad doesn't get frustrated. He gets tired sometimes, but when he's tired, he gets angry, right? He raises his voice. Not really. Sometimes he has to tell Jake to stop jumping on the couch, but that's what I mean. He gets angry, he yells, and if the judge asks, you should tell them that. Not that he hurts you. We're not saying that. Just that he scares you sometimes. That you feel safer with me. Long pause. But I don't feel safer with you. You left us. I know, baby, and I'm so sorry. But this is about making sure I can come home. Don't you want me to come home? I don't know. Sophie, you walked out on Emma's birthday. You didn't call for a whole year. Why would we feel safe with you? The recording cut off. I sat there, staring at the phone in my daughter's hand. There are 4 more, Sophie whispered, all like that. She kept trying to get us to say bad things about you, to make you sound mean or scary or... She broke down. My 13-year-old daughter, recording conversations to protect her family. I pulled her into my arms. She sobbed into my shoulder. I'm sorry. I know it's sneaky. I know I shouldn't spy, but I was so scared she was going to take us away from you. You did the right thing, I said into her hair. You protected us. She's our mom. I should want her back, but I don't. Does that make me bad? No, baby, that makes you smart. Jake doesn't know I recorded this, and Emma definitely doesn't. I didn't want them to worry. My 11-year-old daughter, carrying this weight alone, to protect her siblings, to protect me. I need to give these to Rebecca, I said gently. The lawyer, they're important. Will she get in trouble? Your mom? I don't know, maybe. Good. Sophie's voice was hard. She should get in trouble. She left us. She lied. She tried to make us lie. That's not what moms do. No, it's not. We sat there on her bed, surrounded by posters of bands I didn't know and books she'd outgrown but wouldn't throw away. My daughter had recorded her own mother coaching her to lie. To protect me. Day 422, emergency custody hearing, small courtroom, wood paneling, state seal on the wall, Judge Morrison presiding, 60-something gray hair, reading glasses on a chain. Sarah sat across the aisle with a court-appointed attorney. She couldn't afford to hire one. Wore a navy dress, hair pulled back, trying to look maternal and responsible. I sat with Rebecca. Behind me, Mrs. Patterson, Jake's soccer coach, Emma's teacher, people who had watched us survive the last year. The gallery wasn't full, but it didn't need to be. Judge Morrison reviewed the files, divorce petition, abandonment documentation, paternity results, bank records, PI report. Ms. Torres, the judge said, you abandoned your 3 minor children for 365 consecutive days. No contact, no support, no communication. Is this accurate? Your Honor, I was going through a mental health crisis. I'm not asking for explanations yet. I'm asking if the facts are accurate. Did you have 0 contact with your children for 365 days? Sarah's lawyer whispered something to her. Yes, Your Honor. And you returned when? 2 weeks ago, day 365. Why did you return at that specific time? I realized I'd made a mistake. I wanted to reunite with my family. Judge Morrison looked over his glasses. You were also pregnant, 5 months pregnant, with a child that paternity testing has established is not Mr. Torres's child, correct? Yes, but... And prior to leaving, you engaged in a 3-month affair, funded partially by withdrawals from the marital joint account, culminating in your departure during your youngest child's 7th birthday party, correct? Your Honor, I don't think that's... Ms. Torres, is it correct? Yes. The judge turned to me. Mr. Torres, I've reviewed your documentation. 365 days of receipts, school records, medical appointments. You've marked every single day on a calendar. Yes, Your Honor. Why? So I wouldn't forget. So I could prove I showed up. You expected you'd need to prove this? I didn't know what to expect. I just knew I needed to remember. Tell me about day 127. Sarah's lawyer looked confused. Sarah looked blank. I knew exactly what day 127 was. Jake won an award at school. Most improved in math. He'd been struggling with fractions all year. We worked on them every night after dinner. When they called his name, he looked for his mom in the audience. She wasn't there. She'd been gone 127 days by then. And where were you? Front row, with Emma and Sophie. I recorded it on my phone so Jake could watch it later. Judge Morrison made a note. Day 47. Tell me about that day. I didn't need to look at my calendar. I remembered. I broke down in the cereal aisle at Target. Emma asked if we could buy the kind of orange juice her mom liked. She thought if we had Mom's favorite things in the house, maybe Mom would come back. I explained that's not how it works. Then I sat down next to the Cheerios and cried. Ms. Torres, the judge said, do you remember day 47? No, Your Honor. Do you remember day 127? No. Do you remember any specific day during the 365 days you were absent? No, Your Honor, I don't. The judge closed the file. I'm granting Mr. Torres full physical and legal custody. Ms. Torres, you may petition for supervised visitation after completing a psychological evaluation and parenting classes. Given the evidence of manipulation, specifically the recorded conversations where you coached your daughter to misrepresent the home environment, I'm ordering supervised visits only, pending that evaluation. Sarah stood up. Your Honor, please. I've made my ruling. This hearing is adjourned. The gavel came down. 365 days. The judge asked where she was on day 127. She couldn't answer. I could. The judge saw 365 days of receipts. Have you ever had to prove you showed up? Comment, I proved it. Day 430. We hung the new picture today. Professional family portrait, 4 people. Me in a button-down shirt. Emma in her purple dress, not the birthday one, a new one. Jake in his soccer jersey because he refused to wear anything else. Sophie in black because she's 13, and that's her whole aesthetic now. 4 people. The photographer had asked if we wanted to wait for the mom. No, I said. This is our family. The frame was silver, heavy, real glass, not plastic. I hung it in the living room, right where the old 5-person photo used to be. The old photo was in a box in the garage now, not thrown away. The kids might want it someday, but not displayed, not anymore. Emma stood in front of the new picture, tilted her head. We look happy, she said. We are happy, I replied. Are we still a family? Even without her? I knelt down, eye level with my 7-year-old. Especially without her. Family isn't who you start with, Em. Family is who stays. We don't leave, she said, like a reflex, like breathing. That's right, we don't leave. Jake came downstairs, saw the picture, smiled. We look good. We do. You think she'll ever see it? I don't know, maybe. Think she'll be mad? I don't care if she is. Sophie appeared last. She'd been in her room doing homework, stopped when she saw the photo. Is that gonna stay there? Yeah, why? Good. She looked at it for a long moment. I like this better. It's honest. Honest. 4 people who showed up every day, who survived 365 days and came out stronger. Not blood, not law, just love. Mrs. Patterson brought over a casserole that night. Lasagna. She always brought lasagna when things were important. Heard the custody hearing went well, she said, setting the dish on the counter. It did. Good. You're a good father, Marcus. Those kids are lucky to have you. I'm lucky to have them. She patted my arm. You all are lucky to have each other. That's what family is, you know. Not the people you're born to, the people who choose to stay. After she left, I stood in the kitchen looking at the calendar. 430 days marked now. I took it down, folded it carefully, put it in the box with the old family photo. We didn't need it anymore. Day 437, Sarah texted. First communication since the hearing. I saw the photo on Facebook. Mrs. Patterson posted it. I didn't respond. You replaced me, like I was never there. Still didn't respond. I guess I deserve it, but it still hurts. I looked at the message, thought about responding, thought about all the things I could say. Then I blocked the number. Some chapters need to close completely. Day 450. Emma brought home a school assignment. My family had to write 3 sentences and draw a picture. She drew 4 people holding hands. The sentences read, My family is my dad, my brother, and my sister. We take care of each other. We don't leave. Her teacher had written at the top, Beautiful, Emma. I hung it on the fridge next to all the other drawings. 4-person families, honest families, chosen families. Day 500. We had a party. Not a birthday, not a holiday, just a we survived party. And I made the macaroni surprise. Jake made lemonade, too sweet, but we drank it anyway. Sophie ordered pizza because she said my cooking was appreciated but limited. Emma decorated with streamers she picked out herself. Pink, but not the same pink as her 7th birthday. A different pink, a better pink. We ate on paper plates in the living room, watched a movie Emma chose, something animated with talking animals. Jake complained but watched anyway. Sophie pretended to be too cool but laughed at all the jokes. Dad, Emma was curled under my arm. Yeah? Are we okay now? Yeah, baby, we're okay. Like, really okay? Not just pretending? Really okay. Good. She snuggled closer. I like us like this. Me too. After the movie ended, after Emma was asleep and Jake had gone to bed and Sophie was in her room, I sat in the living room looking at our photo. 4 people. 4 people who chose each other every single day. Not blood, not obligation, just love. I don't know where Sarah is now. Last I heard, she'd moved 2 states away, had her baby, a girl. She sends cards sometimes, the kids' birthdays, Christmas. They sit unopened in a drawer in my office. Maybe someday the kids will want to read them. Maybe they won't. That's their choice to make. Emma's 8 now. She draws families with 4 people automatically. Doesn't even think about it anymore. Jake's 12, captain of his soccer team, still keeps his journal, still writes about hard things. But the hard things are normal now. Friend drama, tough teachers, homework, stress. Not abandonment, not wondering if he was enough. Sophie's 14. She's in therapy, working through everything. She still has that cracked phone, refuses to replace it. Says it reminds her she is strong enough to protect people she loves. We have dinner together every night. Say grace, hold hands. And before we eat, we say it together. We don't leave. It's not a rule anymore. It's just who we are. Mrs. Patterson asked me once if I regretted it, letting Sarah go, not fighting to keep the marriage together. You loved her, she said. Don't you wish things had worked out? I thought about it, really thought about it. No, I said finally. Because if things had worked out, I wouldn't know what we're capable of. Emma wouldn't know she's brave. Jake wouldn't know he's resilient. Sophie wouldn't know she can protect people. We wouldn't know we can survive anything as long as we have each other. That's beautiful, Marcus. It's true. We didn't choose this. But we chose each other, every single day. And that matters more than any marriage certificate ever could. Tonight, I tucked Emma in. Purple dinosaur pajamas. She's getting too big for them, but won't admit it yet. Dad? Yeah, baby. Tell me the story again. Which story? The story about how we became a family. I sat on the edge of her bed, smoothed her hair back from her face. Once upon a time, I began, there were 4 people who loved each other very much. And one day, they had to figure out if love was enough, if showing up was enough, if choosing each other every single day was enough to make a real family. And was it? Emma asked, even though she knew the answer. Yes, it was more than enough, because family isn't who you start with. It's who stays when things get hard. It's who shows up even when it hurts. It's who chooses you and who you choose back. We chose each other, Emma whispered, every single day. And we don't leave. Never. We're family. She fell asleep smiling. I went downstairs to the living room, stood in front of our photo. 4 people. 4 strong, brave, resilient people who built something beautiful out of something broken. In the kitchen, on the counter, there was nothing out of place. No pregnancy tests that didn't belong to me. No notes that ended marriages. No evidence of betrayal. Just a fruit bowl, a stack of mail, Jake's homework waiting to be signed. Normal things, beautiful things. The calendar was gone. The countdown was over. We weren't surviving anymore. We were living. 4 people who chose each other. 4 people who stayed. 4 people who knew that family, real family, isn't about blood or law or obligation. It's about showing up every single day, no matter what. We don't leave. Your turn. Tell me about your chosen family. Who stayed when it mattered most? Who became family not by blood, but by showing up? Real stories only. Drop your story below. I'll read every single one.